Workers and managers at the Sun newspaper have reacted furiously after 5 senior journalists were arrested by police investigating payments to public officials. This morning, the paper's associate editor, Trevor Kavanagh, used his column to lambast the police operation under the headline, "This witch hunt has put us behind ex-Soviet states on press freedom." A few minutes ago, I asked him whether he really believes that's the case.
Well, whether that's the agenda or not, I don't know, but that could easily become the result of what I think is a disproportionate police response to a legitimate line of inquiry. And in the end, if you are having journalists worried about a 7 o'clock knock on the door, then you also are going to affect the way they think about what stories they write and how they write them.
But in a sense, this is simply the law taking its course. I mean, not many journalists complained about the way associates of Tony Blair were treated during the cash for peerages inquiry.
I think quite a lot of comments were raised about the way associates of Tony Blair were questioned by police without a simple request to come in for an interview. So no, I don't agree with that. But if you read the article, you'll see that I've made the point that they are fully entitled to explore all of the issues that they want to explore. They are entitled to expect us to cooperate in providing evidence when they want it, and we do. What is the point of my article is that this is utterly disproportionate. It is out of control when you have the biggest police operation in the country in its history, even bigger than the Lockerbie bombings, the Lockerbie Pan Am bombing, and 171 police on this operation and expanding almost daily, including people who are on specialised terrorist duties who will be not looking out for people who might be carrying or threatening to carry out suicide bombings at the Olympics.
And it has to be said, no one's been killed in this case. But one also has to bear in mind that there was a massive public outcry last summer, and also that the police were criticised for the way they wound down their inquiries after the original investigation into phone hacking. So perhaps there's public pressure to compensate and really clean the stables.
I don't think there's much public pressure for this, frankly. Let me just take those 2 points. First of all, whatever happened last year, we have paid, and 300 journalists have paid very dearly for whatever went wrong. The newspaper has closed, one of the greatest newspapers in the history of newspapers in Britain. 300 people have lost their jobs. And is it right that the police, who perhaps didn't do their job properly at that time, should go to the other end of the extreme of the spectrum and be hauling 30 journalists out of their beds at 7 o'clock in the morning when a polite request and perhaps a knock on the door at some other time, certainly by less than 20 specialised police, would deliver the same results?
I mean, what could be done, though, now that we do have, as you say, these 3 police inquiries underway, as the Leveson inquiry? How could a sense of proportion be restored?
Well, I mean, if we accept that this is disproportionate and that a sense of proportion does need to be restored, then you wind down some of the activities. Why do you need 20 police officers to raid the home of a single journalist who would be happy to cooperate without that pressure? Why do you need 171 people to be operating on 3 different inquiries, which is far greater than the number that were involved in, as I say, any other major police investigation? No murder inquiry, no terrorist inquiry would involve that many people.
Yeah, but the difficulty is now that the documentation is out there, more than 3 million documents. In some cases, allegations that there was an attempt to dispose of documents that have been subsequently recovered. And, you know, that is the agony, if you like, of News International, that all this material now is in the police's domain. If it's there, police don't really have much alternative but to investigate it, do they?
They don't have much alternative but to investigate it, but they don't need either, since they have these millions of documents and emails and other receipts, to go raiding people at 7 o'clock in the morning before they're up and about, and in such heavy-handed proportions. I mean, look, we've got 30 arrests so far. Not a single charge has been made. No one's appeared in court. No one's been convicted. They're all innocent until proved guilty. And yet, their lives are on hold, their careers have potentially been ruined. OK, people will say, we deserve it. Maybe that might be an argument, but I don't believe it's true. I don't believe they deserve it.
I mean, there are those saying that the best course for News Corporation would be to simply get rid of the papers in Britain because they're just a source of trouble and it will stop the business moving forward.
Why would they do that? What do you believe, Adam, that whatever has happened justifies such action? Do you believe that do you think our readers would like to see the back of their favourite newspapers? It's monstrous, and frankly, it is exactly the ambition of our critics and our enemies on other newspapers and in political parties and the particular parts of other political parties who would love to see that. That's their objective. That's their driving goal, to see News International destroyed. And it is, to say the least, as I say this morning, utterly out of proportion.